Welcome to Unit 7 of Grade 9, Plant Growth Substances. We'll discuss the lesson by answering these questions which appear on your screen. Name the factors essential for the growth of a plant. The essential factors for the growth of a plant are air, water, and light. In addition to these, minerals are also required. Air, water, light, and minerals. Then in the second question you are asked to describe a simple activity to show that a stem of a plant grows upwards and its roots grow downward. Here you can see you have taken a potted plant, and you know always the stem of the plant grows upwards and the roots grow downwards towards gravity. If you keep this potted plant in this position, or when the potted plant is fallen, and once you keep it for few days, you will find the stem of the plant grows upwards. That means the shoot apex again starts to grow upwards. And the roots, you will find that the roots have bent and they are growing downwards. It will be further explained by this diagram. There it shows how plants respond to changes in gravity. So you can see the shoot system grows upwards and the roots grow downwards towards gravity. And when the pot is fallen, you can see the shoot grows upwards again against gravity, and the root has bent and it is growing towards the gravity. So by this simple activity, you can show that stem of a plant always grows upwards and the roots grow downwards. Then, as the third question, you are asked, how are you going to show that there is an effect of the apex on plants to increase their height? Is there any impact of the shoot apex to increase the height of a plant? Yes. There you can move on to another activity like this. What you are supposed to do is you have to take two similar potted plants and you have to cut the apex of one plant. You know that this is the apex of the plant, and here you have cut the apex in one plant, and you have to measure the height of both plants. You have to measure the height from the surface of soil to the apex, and here also you have to measure the height from here to there. Then you have to supply same environmental conditions for both plants, and after about 1 week, or you can measure the height of these plants daily for about 1 week. So there you will be able to observe that the height of the plant with the apex has been increased. Height of the plant with the apex has been increased. But the height of the plant in which the apex was removed, there the height has not been increased. In the plant with the removed apex, the height has not been increased. Therefore, you can conclude that there is an effect of the shoot apex on plants to increase their height. Because when the apex is removed, the height does not increase. When the apex is there, the height of the plant increases. Therefore, there should be an impact on the height of the plant by the shoot apex. Then, describe an activity to show that chemical compounds synthesized in plant apex, have an impact to promote the growth of plant towards light. So here you are going to show that the chemical compounds which are synthesized in the plant apex have an impact to promote the growth of plant towards light. So in the previous activity you saw, when the apex is not there, the height of the plant does not increase. Now you have assumed that because of a chemical substance secreted by the shoot apex, the plant gets an impact to grow towards light. For that, you can make use of this simple setup. There, what you have taken is two similar potted plants and the cardboard box which is covered with a black paper. Then what you have to do is, as in the previous activity, you have to cut the apex of one plant, and both plants, one with the apex and one without the apex, are placed inside the box, and they should get light only from one direction. All the other sides are closed. Here there is a small window to get light. So if I repeat, there are two similar plants in which the twig is in which the apex is removed. In one plant, the apex has been removed and both plants are kept inside a box which is covered by a black color paper, and both plants get light from a single side or from a single direction. Then once you keep this for about 1 week, you will be able to observe that plant without the apex does not turn towards light, but the plant with the apex turn towards light. Therefore, you can conclude that there may be a chemical compound synthesized in the plant apex which affect the plant to grow towards light. So the observation was the plant with the apex has grown towards light, it has bent towards light, and the plant without the apex has not bent towards light. So we can study further about this chemical substance which may be synthesized from the apex of the plant shoot. We'll move on to the next question. Number 5, you are asked, what are plant growth substances? Actually, these growth substances are chemical compounds which regulate the growth of a plant. Growth substances are the chemical compounds which regulate the growth of a plant. So, you have heard about hormones in animals. So, these hormones affect the growth of animals. But in plants, we don't call them as hormones, we call them as growth substances. Then, what are the two main types of growth substances? There are certain plant growth substances which will promote the growth of the plant, and some other growth substances will inhibit the growth of the plant. Some will promote the growth and some will inhibit the growth. So two types of growth substances are growth substances which promote the growth of the plant. Second type, growth substances which inhibit the growth of the plant. Promoting the growth means it will allow the growth of the plant. Inhibit means it will avoid the growth of the plant. And remember, these growth substances are organic substances. Organic means they essentially contain carbon as a constituent. Then you are asked to give examples for growth substances which promote the growth of plants. So there are so many growth substances, but in this level you are going to learn about few growth substances. So I will mention these growth substances. There are three main growth substances. One is auxins, next one gibberellins, next one is cytokinins, these are the three main growth substances, and in addition to that there are abscisic acid, and there is another growth substance known as ethene. So these are the natural growth substances, and in addition to that there are artificial growth substances as well. Then you are asked about what is meant by a positive phototropic movement. Positive phototropic movement. Photo is light. Positive means towards light. Phototropism is positive phototropic movement, or positive phototropism is curving of the tip of the plant stem towards light. Curving of tip of the plant stem towards light is known as positive phototropic movement or positive phototropism. So this positive phototropism is shown by the shoot system or the shoot apex. And what type of movement is shown by plant roots? Most probably the roots grow towards ground, or we call it as gravity. Therefore, roots show positive geotropic movements or positive geotropism. Geotropic, positive geotropic movement. Geotropic movement. Positive geotropic movements are shown by roots. Then we'll move on to the next. Describe the impact of auxins towards the positive phototropism of plants. So actually this auxin is a growth promoting hormone, and it is produced in the tips of the plant shoots as well as roots. So you know, tip of the root is known as root apex and tip of the shoot is known as shoot apex. So these auxins are produced in the tips of both shoots and roots. Here you can see, now we are going to show that the impact of auxins towards the positive phototropism of plants. So auxins stimulate cell elongation in stem and roots. Cell elongation means the length of the cells are increased due to auxins. That is because auxins increase the rate of increase in length of cells in the shoot apex and the root apex. So here you are shown these pink color dot like structures indicate auxin molecules, and you can see when light falls, what happens? These auxins diffuse downwards. That means auxins move away from light. Now here these two arrows indicate the direction of light. When light falls on the apex of the shoot, what happens is these auxins diffuse downwards. They move downwards. Then here the direction of light has been changed. So this is the darker side of the plant shoot. This is the darker side of the plant shoot as light is falling from this direction. So there what happens is again auxins move away from light. Auxins move away from light, and auxins get collected in the areas where the intensity of light is less. Then what happens? You learnt that auxins stimulate elongation of the cells in the shoot apex and root apex. So when more auxins are there on the darker side, what happens? The cells on the darker side will increase their length than the cells on the side where light falls. Now, as there are more auxins on the darker side, what will happen is these cells will increase their length. So what will happen? When the length of the cells have been increased, the tip bends towards light. The tip of the shoot bends towards light because of the elongation of the cells on darker side of the shoot tip. Here it says growth of the tip towards light due to more auxin concentration. If I repeat, auxin get diffused away from light, and auxins are responsible for cell elongation in the tip of plant shoots and roots. So when there are more auxins on the darker side, the length of the cells on the darker side of the shoot tip will be increased. As a result, the shoot tip will bend towards light. So it is clear that there is an impact of auxins towards positive phototropism of plants. Positive phototropism means now this is the direction of light and plant shoot bends towards light. So it is clear that auxins have a direct impact on positive phototropism of plant shoot. Then name a natural growth substance found in plants coming under auxin group. So I told you there are so many artificial growth substances as well. There is a natural growth substance which come under auxin group, that is known as IAA, which we call as indole acetic acid. IAA, indole acetic acid. IAA stands for indole acetic acid. Then, while auxins promote the curving of plant stem towards light, auxin has an inhibitory action as well. That is, it inhibits the growth of lateral buds. You know, the lateral buds will give rise to the branches. The branches arise from lateral buds. But when there are more auxins, what happens is the growth of lateral buds into branches is inhibited. Therefore, if you want to obtain a bushy plant, in horticulture this is practiced well. If you want to obtain a bushy plant, what they do is, the oxygen concentration is high in the apex of the shoot. Therefore, if you remove the shoot apex, then auxins are removed. Therefore, the inhibitory action is also stopped. Therefore, the lateral buds will develop into branches. So, if you want to obtain a bushy plant, you can prune the tip of the plant or the plant apex. අපි කියන්නේ කපාදු කරනවා කියලා. කපාදු කළාම the plant shoot apex is removed. As a result, lateral buds will grow into branches. Then you can obtain nice bushy plants or plants with more branches. So this is practiced for the growth of lateral buds in pomegranate plants as well. Then list out the functions of the following plant growth substances. First one, gibberellin. Gibberellin is responsible for the elongation of the stem. Like this. The stem has been elongated due to the action of gibberellins, and gibberellins are also used to increase the growth of fruits. Now here you are shown this bunch of grapes without using gibberellins, and once they have added gibberellins artificially, the growth of fruits have been increased. Then we'll move on to cytokinins. Cytokinins are responsible for accelerating cell division. Cell division means an existing cell divides into more cells. So in grade 10 you will learn about the process of cell division. Now there is a single parent cell. At the end of this cell division process, it has ended up with two new daughter cells. So likewise, when the cell division is increased, the growth of flowers, leaves, fruits and roots get accelerated because the cells divide faster. As a result, the growth of flowers, leaves, fruits and roots get accelerated due to the action of cytokinins. And cytokinins also stimulate seed germination. Cytokinins also stimulate seed germination. From the seeds, a plant will arise. That is seed germination. And cytokinins are also responsible for delaying plant aging. Aging of the plant is delayed due to the action of cytokinin. Then the next growth substance mentioned is abscisic acid. So this abscisic acid is also a plant growth substance, and it is responsible for closing of stomata when there is a shortage of water, when the plant obtains less amount of water, or when it is a drought condition. The water inside the plant should be protected. That means transpiration or the loss of water from the plant body in the form of water vapor should be minimized. So this water vapor release from plant body from this stomatal opening, or what here mentioned as stoma. So these are the guard cells. In between the two guard cells there is the stomatal opening or the stoma. So when there is less amount of water for the plant, or when there is a requirement of conserving water, this stomata or stomatal openings should be closed. That will conserve water inside the plant. So here you can see closed stomata, and this is maintained or regulated by abscisic acid. Then ethene. So you may have heard about ethene regarding fruits because this ethene is responsible for. Actually, ethene is a simple organic compound and it is produced in low amounts in plants. This is essential for ripening of fruits. If we take a mango for an example, a raw mango contains more starch, or a raw fruit contains more starch. And during ripening, what happens is this stored starch is converted into sugar. That is why a raw mango is not sweet in taste, but once it is ripened, it is sweet in taste because the stored starch is converted into sugar. So this process is uh, stimulated by ethene, which is a growth substance. In addition to that, when there is a wound in a plant, ethene is released to that area and it stimulates the growth of a new tissue to recover that wound. So this is a brief in description about the plant growth substances. You can learn a lot other than these, but we are doing this according to the syllabus of grade 9. And the 10th question asks, what is the reason for falling leaves and fruits when matured? What is the reason for falling of then here you can see the next question. What is the reason for falling leaves and fruits when they are matured? The reason is, you have seen when a leaf or a fruit is matured enough, it falls automatically from the plant, and if you observe the tip stalk of the naturally fallen leaf or the stalk, there you can see there is a clear abscission layer. So this abscission layer is formed when the fruit or the leaf is matured because the amount of growth substances reduces in fruits and leaves. If I repeat, when a fruit or a leaf is matured, the amount of growth substances reduces. Because of that, the abscission layer is formed uh, properly. The abscission layer is formed naturally. So you can compare this. You can take a fallen leaf of a plant, as well as you can remove a leaf of a plant, and you can compare the two stalks. They are in the fallen leaf. You can see there is the abscission layer. So this abscission layer is formed. Abscission layer is formed because when the leaf or the fruit is matured, the growth substances are reduced. Abscission layer. Then what is the use of artificial growth substances? These artificial growth substances are used widely in horticulture and in growing ornamental plants. So you can see in floriculture as well. Now this is a huge industry, floriculture, horticulture, and when you visit exhibitions and all, you have seen so many plant varieties. So they use these artificial growth substances. Sometimes you will find when you buy a flower plant from an exhibition or a stall, There are nice flowers once you buy the plant, but when you take it home and keep it for some time, these flowers are fallen and the new flowers will not arise again. That is because the seller had used artificial growth substances. So these can promote the flowering, the formation of fruits, and all these can be promoted by using artificial growth substances. Then you are asked to list out the uses of following artificial growth substances. 2,4-DPA, that is 2,4-dichlorophenoxyacetic acid. 2,4,5-TPA, that is trichlorophenoxyacetic acid. I will mention the uses of these. A table is available in your textbook as well. Indole acetic acid IAA, indole butyric acid IBA, NAA naphthalene acetic acid, cytosol. These are the artificial growth substances that have been mentioned. So you can find the table which appears in your textbook like this: 2,4-DPA and 2,4,5-TPA. The uses are they broadleaf weedicide for paddy fields. Broadleaf weedicide for paddy fields. That means in paddy fields there are weeds which have broad leaves. So in order to destroy these broadleaf weeds, these two artificial growth substances are used. Then IAA, indole acetic acid, and IBA, indole butyric acid, they are used to induce root formation of stem cuttings. Once you cut a twig of a plant and plant it, sometimes it will grow or sometimes it won't. So in order to induce rooting of this twig, you can use these growth substances. In the market, these growth substances are available with different trade names, and they are important to grow fruits quickly. If you want to get fruits quickly, you can use these artificial growth substances. That's why I told the fruit and flower plant sellers use these growth substances. Then naphthalene acetic acid is used to prevent premature fruit drop. Sometimes when we grow a plant naturally, the premature fruits will drop without ripening or without being matured. That is prevented by once we use this NAA. And it is also used to induce flowering in pineapple in off seasons. So there are seasonal crops. Pineapple is also such example. So in the off season also, when we need to produce pineapples, we can use certain growth substances. But here this NAA or naphthalene acetic acid induce the flowering of pineapple. They induce the flowering of pineapple in off seasons. Only during the season only they will produce flowers. In the off season, the flowering of pineapple is induced by NAA. And cytosol, it is used to get mango fruits in the off season. Here fruits are obtained in the off season by using cytosol. Here flowering is induced in the off season in pineapple by NAA. I think you got a clear idea about the plant growth substances. And here there is a simple activity. You are asked to fill in the blanks using appropriate words. Their first one, plant growth substances are, I told you, they are organic compounds. Promotes elongation of stem and growth of fruits, that is gibberellin. Accelerate the cell division, that is by cytokinin. Seed germination is stimulated and plant aging is delayed by cytokinin. The decrease of transpiration by closing stomata is done by abscisic acid, and is a simple organic compound which is produced in low amounts in plants, that is ethene, which increase the speed of ripening of fruits. So hope you got a clear idea about plant growth substances, and I wish to meet